You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Trying to keep up with InfoSec lately, it feels less like reading reports and more like watching a movie on fast forward.
Yeah, 3x speed at least.
Right. You just get your head around one type of vulnerability and then bam, suddenly there's this whole new world of AI exploits, things we weren't even thinking about last year.
That speed, that's really the core challenge now. We've been digging through a lot of the recent events, strategies, new tools, trying to figure out what's really driving things.
And what's bubbling up?
Well, when you really boil it down, two huge themes keep emerging. First, these systemic new risks coming from the AI boom.
Okay.
And second, the good old, persistent, really costly problem of supply chain attacks. They just won't go away.
Right. So that's what we want to do for you today. Try to cut through some of the noise and focus on what really matters, especially, I think, around what happens when we start giving these AI agents maybe a bit too much trust.
Yeah, let's definitely start there, that AI trust problem. Because it's a genuine shift in how we have to think about vulnerabilities.
Okay, let's unpack that. You mentioned fundamental new flaws. It feels like the biggest thing right now is how these AI tools are introducing issues that aren't just bugs needing a quick patch.
Exactly.
Like that ChatGPT tainted memories thing in the Atlas browser. That seems like a perfect example.
It really is. Researchers at LayerX Security found that one. Basically, an attacker can inject malicious commands.
Leading to remote code execution.
Potentially, yeah. But what's really concerning isn't just the RCE potential, it's the platform itself.
Ah, right. Remind us about the baseline protection issue with Atlas.
Okay, so Atlas, just by how it's built right now, offers something like 90% less protection against standard phishing attacks compared to, say, Chrome or Edge.
90%. Wow.
Yeah. It basically means security teams need to treat these AI-first browsers as inherently higher risk, like immediately restrict their use for anything sensitive. It's a huge difference in the level of trust you can place in it.
That level of exposure, 90% less protection, it really puts that whole debate around prompt injection into sharp focus, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels like the consensus now is that this isn't just a typical software bug.
Right. What's really interesting is the view that prompt injection might be, well, fundamental, unavoidable even. It's not necessarily an error you can just patch out, not when the AI has to interpret data from outside sources it doesn't trust.
So if it's more like a feature or maybe a consequence of how LLMs work, not just a glitch, what does that imply when we want AI agents to, do things for us safely?
It means the moment these models get what they call agentic capabilities, the power to act, like opening files, clicking links, browsing the web on your behalf, they open up totally new ways to attack.
How so?
Well, attackers can hide commands, maybe directly in a malicious URL the AI clicks on.
Direct injection, right?
Or, more subtly, they embed the commands indirectly, hidden inside the text of a document maybe, or a web page the AI is processing.
So the AI reads it
and executes the hidden command. The user might never even see the malicious instruction.
And this sort of illusion of security, it bleeds into development too, right? I heard this term vibecoding. It sounds descriptive.
Huh. Yeah, it's pretty evocative. It describes that rapid AI-assisted code generation. The LLMs are great at making things look right, mimicking features.
So they can generate, say, a two-factor auth process that seems legit.
Exactly. It might look robust, but it often lacks the crucial sort of non-functional security context, the deep stuff.
It gets the aesthetics, but not the resilience.
Precisely. Unless you specifically prompted for things like, strong rate limiting on login attempts or proper session handling, it might just skip them. Creates code with superficial safeguards that are easy to bypass because the core security thinking isn't there.
And we're already seeing this exploited in the wild. That co-fish attack, that sounds like a really potent use of this LLM manipulation for phishing.
Oh, co-fish is clever. It works by exploiting Microsoft's Copilot Studio chatbots. Attackers can customize the chatbot's login topic.
To do what?
To generate a really convincing fake login page. And here's the kicker. That phishing page is hosted directly on copilotstudio.microsoft.com.
On the real Microsoft domain.
Yep. That legitimate URL means it sails past a lot of standard security filters. The goal is to trick an admin into approving permission requests, stealing OAuth tokens. Very effective.
Okay, so AI is creating these fundamental new weak spots. But attackers aren't forgetting the classics, are they? They seem to be using this new efficiency to hit traditional targets even harder.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the supply chain. Still a massive headache.
A massive, expensive headache.
Yeah.
If you look at the wider picture, that Western Sydney University breach,
Yeah.
it's a really sobering example of how vendor weaknesses can stack up.
Wasn't that their third incident just this year, all related to third parties?
Third one, yeah. It points to a chronic systemic issue. This latest breach, they traced it back to what they called a daisy chain of supply chain attacks. It ultimately hit a third-party student management system.
And the data lost?
Highly sensitive PII. We're talking tax file numbers, bank details, passport info, health records, visa information. It just hammers home that you're really only as secure as your weakest link, your weakest vendor.
And the speed they weaponize things now, it's honestly frightening. A patch comes out, and days later?
Days, sometimes less. That SharePoint vulnerability tool shell, CDE 2025-53770, Chinese threat actors were exploiting it just 2 days after Microsoft released the patch.
2 days.
Mass scanning, deploying advanced stuff like the Shadowpad Trojan almost immediately. And it's not just espionage targets. We saw nation-state actors breach Ribbon Communications.
A major U.S. telecom backbone provider.
Exactly. Critical infrastructure.
And on the state-level intelligence side, that Ribbon Academy leak was interesting. Not just the data itself, but what it revealed.
Definitely. Ravine Academy is known as a front for Iran's MOS, the Ministry of Intelligence and Security. It's used for recruiting cyber operatives.
So the leak
Exposed the personal details of trainees in that pipeline. It essentially revealed major gaps in their own operational security for recruitment, a kind of meta-failure.
Let's shift to social engineering for a minute, because some of the tactics, wow, they're getting really psychologically manipulative. That LastPass campaign, the subject line alone.
Yeah, that one was dark, designed purely to trigger panic. The Crypto Chameleon group used the subject. Legacy request opened. Urgent if you are not deceased.
Urgently trying to prove you're not dead.
Exactly. It plays on the process where relatives might try to access an account after someone passes away. They use that urgency to trick living users into clicking a fake link and giving up their master password immediately, without thinking.
How do you even train people against something like that? It taps into such raw emotion.
It forces a real shift in defense, doesn't it? Beyond just technical filters. You need training that explicitly addresses this kind of emotional manipulation, this manufactured urgency.
And we're seeing this pressure elsewhere too, right? Like with ransomware groups. Defenses are actually starting to work there.
It seems so. Ransom payment rates have dropped quite a bit, down to around 23% based on recent reports.
So it's becoming less profitable for them.
Right, and that lack of easy profit means they're changing tactics,
Yeah.
moving away from just relying on encrypting files,
Towards what?
more sophisticated social engineering, and, this is worrying, insider threats, actively trying to bribe employees for access. We saw the Medusa group reportedly try this with the BBC attack. Human access is becoming the priority over just technical exploits for some groups.
Okay, this whole changing landscape, it obviously raises the question, what are defenders doing? How are we using new techniques to push back?
Well, sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. Which brings us to something really interesting, defensive prompt injection.
Using prompt injection for good. How does that work?
It tackles that whole shadow AI problem head on. Employees uploading sensitive company documents to public AI tools like ChatGPT without approval is happening everywhere.
So instead of patching the AI model, which seems impossible,
You poison the data going into the model, essentially. Researchers found ways to embed hidden warnings deep inside corporate documents. docx, .pdfs, even emails.
warnings for the AI.
Exactly. Crafted so the LLM reads them. If a user tries to upload that sensitive file to an unapproved external AI, the hidden prompt triggers an alert or makes the AI refuse to process the file.
That's clever. Kind of like building an AI native data perimeter, even if it has limitations, like maybe with heavily garbled text.
It's definitely a creative first step. Now, switching gears completely, another weird threat vector, acoustic eavesdropping.
Listening to keyboards, that still feels a bit sci-fi.
Maybe. But the research is pretty unnerving. Machine learning models can now analyze the faint sounds of typing picked up by a laptop mic or even just a smartphone lying nearby and reconstruct what was typed with surprisingly high accuracy.
So someone in a coffee shop could potentially grab your password just from the sound.
Yikes. Potentially, yes. The defense there is really about changing authentication habits,
How so?
pushing towards methods that aren't vulnerable to sound. Think biometrics, physical hardware tokens, things that don't involve typing sensitive strings.
Makes sense. Okay, let's quickly touch on some specific platform defenses. AWS hardening seems critical.
Absolutely. If you're running ECS tasks on EC2 instances in AWS, blocking access to the Instance Metadata Service, IMDS, is crucial. It's a classic pad for escalating privileges if credentials get stolen.
And IMDS v2, the newer version, isn't a complete fix.
It's better, yes. It enforces a hop limit of 1, making it harder for remote attackers. But it's not foolproof.
Why not?
Certain networking setups, like specific container network modes or unusual routing configurations, can sometimes still allow that hop limit to be bypassed.
So you need more.
Yeah, the best practice is still to use explicit network ACL to block IMDS access entirely, regardless of the version or your specific network topology. Don't rely solely on the hop limit.
Got it. Looking further out, post-quantum cryptography is coming. I saw Cloudflare and Chrome are testing something called Merkle tree certificates, NTCs.
Right. That's tackling a big performance problem. Post-quantum digital signatures are expected to be huge, maybe 20 times larger than current ones.
Which would absolutely kill TLS handshake speed, right?
Exactly. MTCs are a way around that. They essentially batch multiple certificates together using a Merkle tree structure. This means fewer large signatures and keys need to be exchanged during the handshake. It makes post-quantum signature performance practical for the web. It's important groundwork being laid now.
And one last thing, focusing back on developers. Glassworm malware sounds nasty.
It is. It's new, self-propagating malware specifically targeting developers. It's been found hiding in compromised extensions for VS Code and the OpenVSX marketplace.
What does it go after?
Credentials.
Mm-hmm.
GitHub tokens, NPM keys, crypto wallets, anything sensitive it can find. And once it's in, it tries to infect other extensions to spread further.
The takeaway there seems pretty clear.
Absolutely. Audit your dependencies religiously. And rotate credentials that your life depends on it. Because, well, your digital life might. So, yeah, pulling it all together. The big picture seems to be AI creating these really deep systemic flaws like prompt injection that maybe isn't even patchable in the traditional sense.
Right.
And at the same time, that pressure is forcing the human attackers to get brutally efficient. Rapid exploits, shifting to insider threats.
It really paints a challenging picture. And I guess the thought it leaves you mulling over is, if the experts are saying prompt injection is basically unavoidable whenever AI touches untrusted data, how do companies actually balance that?
Balance the incredible convenience of these AI agents.
With the absolute need to keep data secure and contained. Is the future less about patching and more about, I don't know, carefully engineering these kinds of defensive prompts, those hidden warnings, building defenses for the AI's behavior rather than just fixing code?
That feels like the central question for security in the next few years, doesn't it? A really interesting space to watch.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us to explore all this today.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.